Yesterday we have looked at some amount of growth record for Indian economy since independence, right? We've also looked at the historical past. We've also looked at, I mean, in case if you contrast the early growth of Indian economy since independence, when you contrast this with 1900 to 46 when India was not independent, even 3.5% growth rate for 3 decades, it seems to be a remarkable feature. And then there was a structural change around 1980s, and then the reforms of 1990s, and then growth story it picked up. But the question arises, the growth of what? Okay, growth of what? I mean, if you look at the middle class, if you look at the middle class of Indian population, it has improved. Living standards have improved well beyond any anticipation, right? Right. But if you look at the other strata of the society, for example, authors are talking about rickshaw puller, domestic workers, and for most of them, life has been very difficult, right? For many of the underprivileged groups, life has been very, very difficult, okay, even after reforms. So there is an NSS data, National Sample Survey data, okay, that is average per capita expenditure. The data on average per capita expenditures in rural areas and in urban areas. In rural areas, it grew by around 1% per year, and in urban areas at only about 2% per year between 1993-94 to 2009-10, right? Right. The corresponding growth rates of per capita expenditures for poor households, in case if you look at just the poor household in both areas, would have been even lower because inequalities have grown a lot, right? And then if you look at the growth of real agricultural wages, growth of real agricultural wages, okay, in your post-reform period, in 1980s, real agricultural wages it grew by around 5% per annum to about 2% per annum in 1990s, right? And in 2000s, it was virtually zero. So there's a declining trend. It is only after 2006 when NREGA, which is National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, it came into force. There was some growth of real agricultural wages. It was picked up and it could be seen at that time. Now if you look at for unskilled workers, right, or casual workers, the growth of real wages have been like really slow. Growth of real wages has been really slow. So where is this growth going? Okay, so that's the question. Where is this growth going? So when everything is growing, you saying that middle class is growing, India is growing, but this data doesn't support that fact that it's good for the entire country. It may be good for some part of the country, but it may not be good for the entire nation altogether. Okay. Now then authors have compared this with China. Okay, what is happening in China at that time, right? So they have taken the data from ILO, International Labour Organization. Right? Real wages in manufacturing in China